The Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen, brought to you by Harvey Autos in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you've trusted for years. Geico, the insurance savings you expect. Supreme Chevrolet, expect more from Supreme Automotive Group and Gonzalez. Total Car Care, tire shop and automotive repair in Baton Rouge. Bollinger Shipyards, 75 years of delivering high-quality vessels. And the Bugman, we get them before they get you. Here's your host, Lee Burkeen.
Hi everyone, Lee Burkeen with the Sports Scouting Report podcast. I'm your host, also owner of Louisiana Football Magazine, also LAFootballMagazine.com. This is part 2 of defense of our sleepers in South Louisiana. I hope you enjoyed part 1. If you didn't see part 1, go back and watch part 1 because that's defensive linemen and linebackers. We talk about DNs, D tackles, Mike linebackers, outside linebackers. There's a good group of them. Today's show is going to be cornerbacks, safeties, strong and free safeties, and also special teams. It's like Rodney Dangerfield used to say, they get no respect at all. Kickers, punters, long snappers. We're going to dig, and that's what I did. I went all over South Louisiana, make sure I watched film on guys I didn't see this year and went to games this year and the year before. I think you're going to enjoy the show. We hope you will. When we come back, we're going to start the show off with cornerbacks, and then we'll go to safeties, and then we'll go to special teams at the end, and we'll have a great show for you today. Sleepers, South Louisiana, our all-Louisiana team for Louisiana Football Magazine. Seniors only. We'll be right back with cornerbacks. Hi everyone, Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast, also owner of Louisiana Football Magazine. Be sure to go to LAFootballMagazine.com. You can catch our shows on there, but also YouTube, which you're catching on YouTube, or go wherever you get your podcasts. Go check us out. Part 2 today is defense. We're going to start with corners. And I want to mention, this is the signing day week. Second signing day. If you're a mom and dad watching, if you're a recruit watching, or even a coach, I know a lot of coaches know this, don't give up. The new age, the new world we're in, just because second signing day is over doesn't mean that's it. There's going to be a lot of scholarships left over, and the opportunity to walk on to a lot of D1 and 1AA schools, where walking on is a little bit different now because there's more opportunity, because there's so much movement with players leaving. You might have guys that signed in December, and after spring, they leave because you can. There'll be a second portal this spring, and it's that crazy. So don't give up if you're a kicker or you're a quarterback or a lineman or a running back, receiver, linebacker, tight end, fullback, O-lineman, D-lineman, because there's going to be opportunities. A lot of good players left, and that's why I'm doing these shows. Is to show people how much talent's really left, and they're not getting scholarship offers. So some of these guys are going to colleges, but a lot of them, most of them, have yet to be given an opportunity for D1 or 1AA. Let's go and talk about cornerbacks. Let's start with Tavon Ballett from Franklin High School. Great football player, under the radar, tall, has the look. I watched him play. I think he's a guy that if you give him a chance, he'll be a great player in college. Joshua Amaker from John F. Kennedy. LSU took one DB from John F. Kennedy. Here's the other guy that's D1 that can run for days. Aiden McGee from Bogalusa. You heard me mention a bunch of Bogalusa guys. That's a very talented team coached by Cyrus Crutchfield. Coach Crutchfield did a great job, has done a great job at Bogalusa. Taya Terrell, another Destrehan DB. Look, that's home of some of the best DBs ever come out of Louisiana. Ed Reed, Jefferson came out of there. Jefferson's little brother. You've had a lot of DBs come out of Destrehan. A lot of them have played at either LSU, Tulane, or Nichols. Most of those schools are Southeastern. Taya is the next D1 starter, in my opinion. Jari Banks from Chalmette, under the radar corner. Tyreek Farley from LB Landry on the West Bank of New Orleans. Really big time player. Late bloomer. Not a lot of people know about him, but he can run. Cairo from Moore from Warren Easton, 1 year starter. LSU took a DB from Warren Easton this year. He's another one that can play ball from Warren Easton. East St. John in Laplace. Dwayne Brown is as good as any DB that I saw the last 2 years. I know he's 5'9", but don't let that fool you. The guy baits quarterbacks and can intercept passes. I've seen him do it every game I've ever been to. And I've been to about 5 East St. John games in the last 4 years. Dwayne can play football. DeMontez Taylor from Amy can run for days. Tough kid. Charles Rayfield, he's built the way you want him to look for a corner from East St. John. Again, under the radar because of all the talent they have on their team. But you won't see a better looking 6'3" corner than Charles Rayfield. Brian Tillman Jr. from Booker T. Washington, another big-time player from that school. Joseph Barber, under the radar, one-year guy from Jesuit. Man, what a tackling machine Joseph Barber was. And I think he's a 1AA starter as a freshman. And he only came around this senior year. But man, what a senior year he had. Jaden Williamson from John Ehret, another late bloomer that caught my eye. They had 2 DBs signed with Tulane and LSU. I think Jaden's the 3rd DB that'll sign somewhere in the end. Darrell Singleton Jr. runs a 4.440 from St. Helena Central, and his teammate, Adrian Harness, also runs a 4.4. These are 2 diamond in the roughs. Singleton's brother starts for Nebraska right now as a 6'3", 215-pound safety, Deshaun Singleton. Hayden Moten had 3 interceptions in 1 game this year out of Baton Rouge, at a collegiate high school in Baton Rouge. Had 7, almost 8 interceptions. What a great football player he is, under the radar. Mason Boris from Denham Springs. The coach Beard at Denham told me he's the best DB he's ever coached in his 20-plus years. I believe him. The other DB signed with LSU, a safety, but he thinks Mason is just as good, and I do too. Tyler Knox from Woodlawn, under the radar, late bloomer. Derek Thomas from A-Meet runs a 4.5, tall, skinny, but will gain weight. Aaron Johnson from Glen Oaks, a sleeper. Caleb Ricks from Sandoval looks the part and can cover, big-time player. Takari White from East Feliciana, big-time football player. Omar Butler from Crowley High School. This is a name you don't hear about. This guy runs 4.45, 4-year starters, played 5 positions at Crowley, and Omar is as good as anybody that you'll see on this list. Ryan Hall from Warren Easton, D1 corner that you've never heard about probably. Damon Joseph from Warren Easton, another D1 corner. Basically, all 5 DBs at Warren Easton are D1. Jacoby Harris, H.L. Bourgeois, their best prospect on defense is a senior, big-time player. And Jamal Callio from John Curtis runs 4.5, great track guy, big-time D1 player. We mentioned also DeMarcus Spillers from Salmon is a big-time player. Jermaine Davis from Hammond, great cover guy, lockdown corner. He doesn't think he's small. Caden Mackey from Dutchtown, another lockdown corner. Amadri Evans from Westgate, as good as anybody in the state, will probably go to a junior college to start his career and be a D1 signback in a couple of years. Tony Burns, his brother's Major Burns, that plays for LSU. Tony is a D1 player. Andre Wrigley from Lakeshore caught my eye this year, very physical DB. Kevon Garner from Terrebonne and Chartavius Clark from Terrebonne, 2 physical guys that can run. Landon Carter from Plaquemine, phenomenal football player. Gylan Ford from Tarleton's Catholic, one of the best DBs in Lafayette. Leon Jackson from Belle Chase, under the radar. Christian Martin from Franklinton, not a heavy kid, but man, super big-time gifted. Caleb Sterling from Livingston Collegiate in New Orleans can really play. And Rickon Buckhalter from Franklinton, super football player. I've got some more DBs to talk about at corner. Arian Owens from Ben Franklin, under the radar. Nicholas James from South Plaquemines, great player. Rashawn Charles from St. James, under the radar. St. James has about 7 players that are going to sign in their senior group, maybe as many as 10. Jordan Evans from Archbishop Shaw, they had a great defensive backfield. I think he's under the radar. Cody Noel from Bro Bridge, big time player, loved his physical game. And DJ Thomas from Newman, one of the best DBs that Coach Nelson Stewart's ever coached at Newman. He's an under the radar guy. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about strong safeties and free safeties for sleepers in South Louisiana, Part 2 defense. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast, and also owner of Louisiana Football Magazine in Baton Rouge. 28 years coming up on our magazine. Started the business out of my apartment in 1997. And I want to recognize my mom who passed away in March 1st, Dolores LeBlanc Thompson, for all her hard work. My mom, I want to dedicate this whole year to her and all of last year. She was a big part of what we did at Louisiana Football Magazine for almost 27 years. It was just me and her running it, and appreciate everybody that's ever been a part of our magazine. Thanks to all the people that watch our shows. Please go on and subscribe and share and send if you're a new viewer. That helps us grow. We're going to continue with our DBs for our sleeper team. If you're a mom and dad, before we get started back, don't give up on your future as a football player. Because signing day, the new world we're in, it's this week, but in the spring there'll be more scholarships available for high school kids because there'll be more kids leaving colleges with the second portal opening up this spring. And they'll be also giving more scholarships to some of these kids, and I'm mentioning it today and in these past shows. That's why I'm doing the shows, to help kids get scholarships, to get the names out, and not just the high school coach trying to sell a kid, but someone like me that's not have anything to do with the schools, just admiring the talents of these young men and sharing it with the public. Let's continue on with safeties, strong safeties. A lot of guys I'm going to go through. Strong safeties, then we'll go to free safeties. Porter Zerain from Central Lafourche. And they haven't had good teams the last 4 or 5 years, but this kid, man, what a football player. Porter is a guy that's played all over the field for him, physical player, and can run. I think he's a 1AA starter all day long. Chavez Morris from Edna Carr, another great DB from Edna Carr. Tyler Laverne from Iowa, man, what a hitter. He caught my attention. I don't care if he's ranked, not ranked. This guy was one of the most physical DBs in South Louisiana. Hank Hebert, same thing from St. Louis. Started his career as a running back at St. Louis as a freshman. Man, physical kid. Jack Peterson, whose brother plays for the University of Minnesota, was at Southeastern. His brother's going to be in the NFL probably in a year. Jack is also a guy that's very talented, like his older brother. Andrew Lewis from St. Aug caught my eye this year. If you sign a DB from St. Augustine High School, chances are he'll pan out. I mean, just ask Tyron Matthew and all the great DBs that have come out of there. Ask Coach Hankton at LSU that played at St. Aug, or Frank Wilson. J.T. White, Desterhan, another great DB. Here's a guy from Kenner Discovery, Cameron Gardner, that I just absolutely love his game. He's a 4-5 guy. He's a high-effort guy, and he can read. Jeremy Turner from Brother Martin. I think he's got a chance to be a D1 sleeper if he gets a D1 offer. He's a physical kid downhill. Played linebacker for Brother Martin. Jared Campbell, Riverside, all over the field for them. Super gifted player, underrated. Connor Milligan caught my eye this year for Brother Martin, another physical kid. Will Homies from Jesuit, physical downhill safety that'll just take you out. Love his game. Xavier Ware from Bel Air, under the radar. Jalen Tyler from McKinley caught my eye as a guy that can run and hit. Darrell Spears from Catholic High Baton Rouge, late bloomer, physical kid, looks the part. Sammy Knight from Hamilton Christian in Lake Charles, very gifted, 4-year starter, 3-sport athlete. Elijah Coleman, Sulphur, physical player as a safety for the team, was a former running back, played everywhere. Under the radar player that you need to keep an eye on his name. Colin Fontenot from Opelousas is an under radar guy, that 4-year starter. 4'5" guy. Love this kid. Keegan Dugas from Northside, another under the radar physical guy, can run. Peyton David got hurt, missed some games his senior year, but what a big time hitter from St. Thomas More High School in Lafayette. Antonio Taylor from Warren Easton, another DB. I've mentioned all 5 that are seniors. They're all college prospects. Dwayne Scott from New Iberia, all district in track, phenomenal athlete at New Iberia. Even though a lot of guys go to Westgate now, New Iberia still has talent at that school. Timothy Andrews from Cecilia, physical kid. Isaiah Wilson, Fountain Blue, and Trick Gagnon, Fountain Blue. 2 guys that can really hit you, and they will hit you, and they're very physical players. Nick Allen from Bonneville caught my eye as a junior. Kentrell Knox from Madison Prep, and Zachary Bro from Willow. Keelan Sherman from Madison Prep. Jeremy Jackson from Dutchtown. Carter Hanberry from Dutchtown, former quarterback. All those guys are physical kids that can play 1AA ball or D1. Next up, Brent Hardesty from Grand Lake, physical kid. Travis Prada from Barb, love his game the last 4 years. Sag Lockett from Port Allen, physical kid. Ashton LaFleur from Liberty caught my eye this year. Jerry Stefan from Sophie B. Wright in New Orleans, very physical kid. And we're going to take a break there. When we come back, we're going to talk about free safeties. Hope you enjoyed strong safeties. And then after free safeties, we're going to talk about kickers, punters, and long snappers, because they never get the respect they deserve. But I'm going to share that with you today. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of Sports Scouting Report Podcast. Also owner of Louisiana Football Magazine since 1997. This will be 28 years for our magazine. Go to lafootballmagazine.com also. And be sure to watch our podcast wherever you get your podcast. And also YouTube, subscribe, share, follow. If you're a new viewer or you're someone that's been watching for a long time and you haven't subscribed, please help us grow. I say that from the heart. It helps us. I'll do more and more. The bigger we get, the more we'll do. My goal is to do a show every day. But right now we're doing 2 to 3 a week. And I'd love to get it to 4 a week and do more North Louisiana and more South as we move forward. Let's continue on with free safeties. There's a lot of guys, we mentioned a lot of strong safeties that are sleepers in this class of 224. For all Louisiana South sleeper team for defense, starting at free safety, let's go talk about Miles Davis from Livingston Academy in New Orleans. Very physical kid that's gifted. Dallas Hughes from Sophie B. Wright in New Orleans, another physical kid. Ray Levy from Lake Arthur played quarterback. I think he'd be a better free safety in college. Looks the part, big physical guy. Joe Natale from Iowa, 4-year starter there, very physical kid. Landon Schlink from Lakeshore, physical player, downhill safety. I think he's D1. Damian Hodges from HL Bourgeois caught my eye this year, very good player. Christian Pritchett, who's going to be playing college ball, D1, from St. Augustine, New Orleans. He'll be a guy that you hear on Sundays one day that was under the radar, believe it or not, that can run a 4.5 and very physical. He's going to be a big guy in college. Damon Lee, another big DB from New Orleans. Booker T. Washington, one of my favorite players that no one knows about is Damon Lee. This guy looks like an SEC corner. He actually played cornerback, can run, but I think he's going to be a free safety and be a big 220-pound guy in a year and have a great career, whether it starts in a junior college and sign back D1 or sign D1 in the spring or this week. Continuing on, at free safety from New Iberia, a great football player, 4-year starter. Lamarizon Allen, who's a great football player under the radar. Henry Lee from East Jefferson, a 4-year starter, played all over the field for that program. I think he's under the radar. Amonte Yates from Scotlandville, played everywhere on the field for them on defense. I love his physical game. Cameron Hill from Lake Charles College Prep. Eric Franklin's going to play college D1 ball, the coach's son, as a corner. Cameron is a safety that no one knows about. He's as good, I think, as Eric Franklin, his teammate. Micaiah Stewart from Liberty and Baton Rouge came on his senior year. I thought he was physical. Ricky James from LaRonger is under the radar. You know, LaRonger's right outside of Hammond, Louisiana. Great football player. And Hodges Brown is a strong safety, can play free from Como, played a little offense. Free safety, Jovion Nicholas from Breaux Bridge. Man, this guy can play. He doesn't weigh a lot yet, but man, he's got a big frame to fill out in college. Brendan Baptiste from St. James came on this year and really looked good. I think he's D1. Cortez McIntyre from Thrive Academy is a sleeper, had several interceptions this year out of Baton Rouge. Jordan Jacobs looks the part from Slidell. I think he could be a guy under the radar. Chris Jackson. You won't see a better looking, tall DB in the state than Chris Jackson of Glen Oaks. I saw this kid play this year. He didn't play on a good team. They didn't have a lot of talent, didn't have a lot of players, but it doesn't matter. His future is this guy can play, and he's physical. Man, when he fills out, it's going to be scary. This guy's 175 when he hits a weight program. Continuing on, 4 more free safeties to mention. Dylan Duran from Zachary, very physical downhill guy, really had a good senior year. A D1 sleeper. Dylan Callahan from Iota, love this kid, 3-year starter. Gregory Harding from Terrebonne, he had people in his family that played in the NFL. Very physical kid, as physical as anybody I've seen in the state. And Marcus Dawson from U-High. We mentioned Tony Burns earlier, Major Burns' brother from LSU. Marcus is as good looking of a player that you'll see in high school football that can play D1 ball. U-High really had a talented defensive backfield this year. Marcus is definitely a D1 player. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about kickers who don't get respect, and they don't get their name out that much, but we're going to talk about the top kickers, sleepers in South Louisiana. Then we'll have punters and long snappers. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host, the Sports Scouting Report podcast, owner of Louisiana Football Magazine since 1997. Also check out our website, lafootballmagazine.com. Catch our podcast wherever you get it, and also on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, follow, and send to help us grow, to do more for these kids in the schools. We're going to go and continue on. This is part 2 of our defense. I decided to put the special teams department, kickers and punters and long snappers, all on the end of the show as a group. You really can't talk about one without the other, right? Long snapper, punter, kicker, they're all, connected to the hip. And all these guys that I'm going to mention are legitimate, and they had great seasons, and they did great job for their high schools. And I saw these kids play. If I left someone out, maybe I missed you, maybe there's a chance, but I really feel good about this list. Let's go ahead and start with kickers. Matthew Vest from Iowa. He's going to a D3 college for football. From 40 yards in, he made everything. He was a phenomenal kicker for Iowa, a leader, a great student, a great kid. Had a chance to meet him a few weeks ago going to Iowa High School. Joseph Whitehouse from Pope John Paul II in Slidell, cannon leg, phenomenal potential as a kicker in college. Jacob Lader from North Vermilion, big time leg, another strong kicker, did a great job from North Vermilion High School in Maurice, Louisiana. Chris Wallace from Archbishop Rummel not only was a great kicker for Rummel, but a great wide receiver, and I loved his toughness as a slot guy, but he had a cannon leg and could, in my opinion, could be a 1AA starting kicker. Trace Millett from Lutcher is a 1-year guy who really tore it up. I mean, he's a tall kid, he's a long player, and he's got a leg to 50 yards, and he really impressed me with a phenomenal senior year for Lutcher High School. Remember the name Trace. He is a guy that can walk on and earn a kicking starting job at many schools in Louisiana. Continuing on at kicker, we're going to talk about Alex Mafus from Ascension Episcopal in Youngsville. Their kicker before him is a starting kicker at Georgia, So they know how to put kickers out. He's the next guy with a cannon leg up to 50 yards. He's still available, I believe, to go in this signing this week and beyond. Ross Cortez from Brazil, great leg. They're not known for college prospects, but he has had a phenomenal leg for that program the last 3 years. Gabe Profit from Westminster and Opelousas has really done a great job for that program the last 3 years also. And a kicker named Brennan Burke from St. Thomas More in Lafayette has as good of a leg of any kid you'll see. If given an opportunity, Brennan, who knows, might go to UL and walk on, might get a scholarship between now, signing day this week, or in the spring. Jacob Russell from Ben Franklin in New Orleans, under the radar guy with a cannon leg. Jaden Alfonso started at Holy Cross, finished at Chalmette High School, had a really good senior year, cannon leg, was a freshman high school starting kicker at Holy Cross back in the day. Easton Gyro is another kicker from Santa Maula, phenomenal receiver for Santa Maula also. 4'5" in the 40. What an incredible kid he is as an athlete. I love Easton. I think he's D1 as a kicker. Caleb Johnson from Destrehan had a great senior year. Bradford Kane, another kid at Turlings Catholic that started at wide receiver the last 3 years, also a cannon leg. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about long snappers, and then we're going to finish the show with punters. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Lee Burkeen, your host of Sports Scout Report Podcast, also owner of Louisiana Football Magazine. We're going to go ahead and talk about long snappers in the state and then punters. Let's go ahead and go to long snappers. We'll pull up the list up on the screen. Caden Champagne from Cecilia, big, tall kid, a lot of ability. I think it's a sleeper for college. Aiden Thaville from St. Paul's in Covington. They're known for putting out long snappers. Bo Leonard from Ascension Episcopal did a good job. Michael Felton from Barb's got a really advanced ability to do that position. Also on our team as a defensive end, linebacker. Nathan Graves from A-Meet is a very good long snapper. Grant Denicola from Dutchtown caught my eye this year. William Cooper from Silliman and in Clinton, Louisiana did a good job. Trent Gagnon from Fountain Blue. And Freddie Milliken caught my eye this year from Zachary. Did a really good job for Zachary High School. Continuing on with punters, Blayton Fontenot from Iota has a cannon leg, has done a great job. Tyler Oliver from Slaughter, cannon leg, man. He can really punt the ball. Alden Romano from Episcopal in Baton Rouge. Over the last 4 years, what an incredible player, but did more punting, in my opinion, is a better punting prospect. Was also a kicker for them, but I think as a punter, he could be a starter, D1 or 1AA. Sam Taylor, who was an all-district linebacker from Lafayette Christian, showed me a cannon leg at Lafayette Christian. Big guy, could be a college prospect at either spot, linebacker or punter. Ryan Lacey from Destrehan was over 40 yards a punt this year as a senior. Phenomenal year. They've produced a lot of punters over the years. And finally, our last player to mention at punter, a kid that caught my eye this year, going to a game from East St. John, Elon Green, not a big guy, but man, when the ball leaves his foot, it's like it comes out of a ball machine. You know, spirals up high, hang time, phenomenal punter. And I thought Elon Green deserved to be on this list. It's not a name you've probably heard of. I hope you enjoyed the part 1 and part 2 of offense and defense. Today was our defensive part 2. I hope you enjoyed all of the shows. If you're a mom and dad or you're a recruit or a coach, don't give up. It's a new world. Signing days this week, but it doesn't mean it's over. The new portal starts in spring for colleges. There'll be more scholarships, and there'll be more guys get late offers from high school with high school kids than ever before. So I think there is some potential there for a lot of kids to sign late all the way until June and even maybe July. And if you're thinking of walking on in a D1 school or 1AA school, take it, because there's a lot of opportunity now in college athletics. With so many kids leaving every year, nobody has depth anymore. There's no such thing as being deep in any position because of the portal. And at any time now, as a walk-on, you have an opportunity to actually at least get on special teams and get a letterman's jacket, even as a first-year guy. So don't give up. Never give up. I hope all the parents that are watching and kids enjoyed the show, and we'll see you soon. God bless.
Thanks for watching the Sports Scouting Report with Lieber King.